The morning that Quinlan passed, I was upstairs asleep in my room and heard the nurse. And I don't even know if I've ever told you this. I heard the nurse, I knew right away what was going on. And I looked at my phone, saw what time it was, and I rolled over and closed my eyes. And I was like, I don't want to get up. I just want to go back to sleep. I don't want to do this. And that lasted all of like 12 seconds. And then I got up and went downstairs and um, knew right away what was going on. There was no real surprise once I saw him. We weren't expecting it, so it was a surprise. And just from the first second I got downstairs and saw him, I was just like, okay, this is what I'm doing. There was no real question about if I was going to leave. And the nurse who was there was one that had been there throughout everything, and he was kind of losing it, not losing it, but he was very emotional. Lindsay and Bear obviously were. And so I just kind of went into this mode of like, okay, well, we're not gonna be emotional right now. I am gonna stay. And the paramedics came and they were asking all the questions, and they kept trying to get me to leave. And they kept saying, maybe you should go down with your sister. And I was like, I'm not leaving until he leaves. I'm not doing that. And watching them, and they're all whispering to each other, and clearly it wasn't good. And I knew that, and I wasn't scared of that in that moment. I was like, okay, yeah, just say what needs to be said, ask the questions that need to be asked, and then take him and go and do what needs to be done. And they kept, trying to shield me from everything. And I was like, don't do that. It's fine. Just do it. And so we went to the hospital, and it was, they brought us into the side room and told us, and there was a woman there who was a volunteer from a area organization that actually the hospital calls them when something like this happens. So she was there, I think by the time we got there, she was there, if not shortly after. And so she actually knew our brother. And so she had taken our brother aside, he was with us, and she said, I really think it's a good idea if someone goes in and sees the body, and just kind of checks up. It had been a little while at this point, checks on it and just checks on him, and make sure that the way she put it, it's not long until he no longer looks like himself. And so she had pulled me aside and asked me if I would be willing to go in and do that instead of Lindsay and Bear, to kind of check on him. And so I went into the room where his body was, and there was some blood around his mouth that I had to wash off, and his hair was a mess. So I tried to make it look, he had crazy curly hair. So I tried to make it look like it always did, and washed him up and made sure he was, looked as comfortable as possible. And throughout that day, every time someone new came and needed to go in, nobody asked me to, and probably didn't want me, but I just kind of kept going in with them, because I think in that moment I just felt like he shouldn't be alone. And but also totally understood that it might not have been the right choice for her to continue to go in. It might not have been the right choice for me. It was not easy every time I walked in, but I just, in that moment, felt like it was the right thing to do. For me, it was a selfish choice as much as it was an unselfish choice. I needed to keep going in and seeing him, and I needed that as much as he needed that, she needed that. It was just what was needed for me.
She was actually the one that said to me, she said, Lindsay, he's getting a little cold. If you want to go in, now might be a good time. And so that's when I went in, and and it just wasn't him. But I know, like I said before, my friends had all come, and I think almost all of them had gone in to say goodbye to him. And but I'm pretty sure, like, I don't think my brother did. but that would, and I don't think I could have either, and that's the thing that you learn a lot from grief and this whole process is just everyone is so different. And it's not a matter of, you know, oh, well, Lindsay didn't even go in until, Danny had already gone in a couple times. Like, oh, but there's no
No right,
right, no
wrong,
wrong.
nothing.
It's just, it's what was best for us at the time.